Imagine this. You're sitting in a dimly lit room, the kind where shadows dance on the walls like forgotten secrets, and suddenly you feel an inexplicable pull toward something you know you shouldn't touch. It's not just a whim. It's a whisper from deep within, hinting at a hidden world inside you that's been waiting to be uncovered. What if I told you that this very pull could be the key to unlocking a freedom you've only dreamed of? Stick with me, friend, because we're about to embark on a journey that might just change everything you thought you knew about yourself. Let me share this with you, like we're old pals chatting over coffee, because I know you've felt that tug of war in your heart, the one between what feels easy and what feels right. You see, addiction isn't just about the obvious traps like sneaking a smoke when no one's looking, or pouring that extra glass of whiskey to drown out the day's chaos, or even losing hours to your phone screen in the dead of night. No, it's something ancient, something primal, a silent storm raging in the depths of your being. It's the clash between fleeting comforts and the bold courage your soul craves, between the dark corners you hide from and the true essence of who you are. Dr. Benjamin Cole, that brilliant thinker from the heartland of America, saw addiction not as some personal failing or a sign of weakness, but as a signal, a heartfelt cry from your inner world. He once penned words that hit like a thunderclap. Folks will go to any lengths, no matter how wild or outlandish, just to dodge facing their own true selves. It's not about being lazy or lacking grit. It's that bone-deep fear of staring into the mirror and meeting the real you, flaws and all. In the quiet darkness, picture yourself in that moment, alone in your cozy bedroom, as the world outside slumbers under a blanket of stars. The house is still, but inside there's this nagging itch, a gentle yet insistent nudge toward something that promises to melt away the ache in your chest. You know deep down it won't fix anything for good. It's just a temporary bandage. But oh, how sweet that brief escape sounds right now. Your hand reaches out almost on its own. Maybe you flick open a lighter and inhale that first puff, or tap your screen to dive into a sea of endless distractions, or twist the cap off a bottle for that familiar burn. For a little while, you're lost in it, hoping to outrun the feelings you've buried so deep. But then comes the aftermath, the heavy crash that follows the high, the wave of regret washing over you like a cold rain, and that whispered vow to yourself. This is the last time. Yet the question lingers in the air, heavy and unanswered. Why do I keep circling back to this, even when I see the wreckage it leaves behind? It tugs at your heart, doesn't it? That cycle of hope and heartbreak, it's enough to make anyone feel lost. Now, most folks treat those cravings like villains in a bad movie, something to battle or bury away. But Dr. Cole flipped the script in a way that shakes you to your core. He taught that every single urge, every nagging compulsion, is actually a messenger from the hidden parts of your mind, delivering truths you've been too afraid to hear. Pause and really think about it with me. If your life was overflowing with contentment, if you felt completely whole and at peace, what on earth would you need to numb out or flee from? Those cravings. They're the poetry of your soul's deepest hurts, speaking in a language only you can truly understand. Addiction goes way beyond the substances or the routines. It's about the voids in your life, the pieces that feel missing or broken. It's not a test of your strength alone. It's a riddle begging for meaning. That's why so many good-hearted people stumble and fall. They pour all their energy into sheer willpower, but they never stop to whisper, "What is this craving really trying to say? What fragment of my spirit have I shoved into some dusty corner, pretending it doesn't exist?" In Dr. Cole's wisdom, he talked about the shadow self, all those rejected bits of you, the denials, the shames you've whispered only to the night. The more you try to ignore or exile that shadow, the stronger it swells, like a river building behind a dam. And addiction? It's the shadow's cleverest costume, masquerading as a cozy blanket, when really it's feasting on your unspoken fears. You tell yourself, "I just need to unwind a bit, to feel a spark of joy, to quiet the noise in my head." But lurking beneath, the shadow murmurs doubts that cut deep. You're not worthy. You're isolated. You'll always be this way. It breaks my heart to think about it, friend, how every addiction is just a veil over raw pain. And so many spend their days fiddling with that veil instead of peeking underneath. We live in a world that preaches control like it's the Holy Grail. Just say no. Toughen up. But if that was the magic fix, you wouldn't be here with me now, feeling that familiar pull. Dr. Cole would lean in close and say, "You don't conquer the shadow by brute force. You transform it through gentle, unwavering attention." Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine holding a colorful beach ball under the ocean waves. You push down with all your might, muscles straining, but it keeps popping back up, sometimes with enough force to knock you off balance. That's how life feels for so many, constantly suppressing, denying, warring against themselves. sooner or later, that ball bursts free, more forceful than ever. You can't grit your teeth through it indefinitely. The urges always circle back, like old friends you wish would forget your address. The true shift happens when you ask not, "How do I crush this?" but, "What is this teaching me?" And here's where the magic starts, my friend. Next time that familiar itch creeps in, don't bolt or brace for a fight. Just notice it. Take a breath, pause, and gently inquire, what am I truly seeking in this moment? Is it a hug from the world? A break from the chaos? A taste of real connection? This is the dawn of true self-command, watching the craving like a curious observer, not letting it swallow you whole. As you do this, you might uncover a narrative playing out in your thoughts, one woven from threads of fear, isolation, or that nagging sense of being left behind. Perhaps it's a harsh inner voice insisting you'll never break free. But by simply noticing, you carve out a tiny space, a breath of choice amid the storm. So many never reach this point. They're too caught up in the rush of life, too dulled by habits, too terrified of what they might find. They'd rather linger in the fog than risk the light revealing their truths. But you, right here, right now, by listening to this tale, you've already sparked the first flame of rebellion against addiction's grip. Dr. Cole saw every addiction, every shadow, as an open invitation. If you lean in and really listen, your craving is pleading. What emotions have you shoved aside? What piece of you is begging to be acknowledged, mended, or embraced? Healing doesn't begin with declaring war on your own heart. It blooms from forging peace with your scars, your yearnings, your long-lost aspirations. Most folks won't venture here. They'll battle, stumble, point fingers, and loop back around. But those who linger, who muster the guts to probe deeper, unearth something priceless beyond mere respite. They rediscover themselves. This isn't some instant miracle pill. Oh no. It's like holding up a mirror to the fragments you've dodged for years. If you can gaze into it, even for a heartbeat, you start scripting a fresh chapter in your life. Hang tight with me, because we're diving even deeper now into the method Dr. Cole shared to help everyday people like you shatter those endless cycles. And by the end, you'll uncover a concealed gem of wisdom that could flip your world if you're brave enough to embrace it. Don't let that shadow coax you away. The revelation is nearer than you realize. If you've journeyed this far with me, you're already standing apart from the crowd. So many spend their days fleeing from unease, never pausing to wonder what's truly orchestrating those insistent cravings. Dr. Cole described this as being possessed, when an inner force hijacks the wheel, leaving you a passenger in your own story. You swear, "I won't go there again," but your actions betray you, drawn back by an unseen current. It's like waking up a stranger in your familiar body. How many times has that happened to you? Those solemn promises crumbling under the weight of habit, pulling you under like a riptide. The wise thinker, Theodore Vance, with his roots in American soil, once declared, "True freedom belongs only to those who command their own ship." But Dr. Cole's brilliance shone in revealing that mastery isn't about wrestling the waves. It's about deciphering their rhythms. Addiction isn't merely a deed. It's a sacred ritual, a dance you perform when life feels adrift, when loneliness bites, or when overwhelm crashes in. Yet, here's a secret tucked away that few ever grasp. Every ritual carries profound meaning. Every habit is a breadcrumb leading back to your core. You don't yearn for that puff of smoke, that sip, or that digital vortex without cause. There's always a spark, a moment, an emotion, a fleeting thought that tips the scales, making everything feel too heavy or too empty. Maybe it's the tension coiling after a grueling day at the office, or the eerie quiet that settles before bedtime, or watching a friend soar while you feel anchored in place. The craving sneaks in, not as a tyrant, but as a soothing companion, cooing, "Let's skip this feeling for now. Let's vanish into oblivion." But what if, just this once, you didn't flee? What if you pivoted, faced it head on, like Dr. Cole advised, and softly asked, "Why have you come?" The response might catch you off guard, stirring emotions you've long ignored. Perhaps it's not the habit itself, but the storm you're evading. Waves of solitude, dread of inadequacy, or echoes from a childhood scar that still throbs quietly. Philosophy urges us to pose those piercing questions, even when they sting like salt in a wound. Psychology arms us with the fortitude to linger in that discomfort until it whispers its secrets. You've heard the chants 1,000,000 times. Buckle down. Summon your willpower. But no one spills the real beans. Willpower is a finite well, draining dry under pressure. When exhaustion hits, or stress piles on, or life overwhelms, that well empties, and the familiar path beckons once more. Dr. Cole likened the unconscious mind to an endless sea. Your conscious will a lone skiff bobbing on its surface. If you only row furiously against the currents, you'll tire without progress. But learn to read those swells, anticipate the gales, and you sail with grace, not grit. That's the art. Spotting your patterns without harsh judgment. viewing the craving as a dispatch, not a defeat, a clue to what's absent, a map to your deepest desires. Dr. Cole spoke of the power in naming things. What you can label, you can gentle. So, when the urge surges, don't clench or flee. Pause and christen it. This is my anxiety rising. This is loneliness knocking. This is the part of me craving comfort. It might feel almost too straightforward, even a tad foolish at first. But naming drags the craving from murky depths into daylight. The clearer you see it, the fainter its hold becomes. When you can say, "I understand your visit," you rewrite the tale. This is where timeless wisdom and mind science intertwine. The aim isn't to obliterate the craving, but to weave back in that estranged piece of you, the one using the urge as a desperate signal for aid. Dr. Cole penned, "The scariest feat is embracing every inch of yourself. To welcome the craving as a voice from your wounded side is to ignite genuine mending." How to begin? With raw truthfulness. When the pull tugs, resist the urge to divert or scold. Instead, probe. What am I dodging? What ache have I ignored? What dream did I abandon ages ago? Emotions might flood in. Fear that grips your throat. Sadness that weighs like lead. Anger that simmers hot. And that's perfectly fine, friend. Many turn tail here, convinced it's overwhelming. But each confrontation with your shadow reclaims a sliver of your strength. Freedom won't dawn overnight, but every spark of awareness loosens the bonds. Every curious glance is a triumph over the worn-out narrative. Philosophy invites us to weather the unease of uncertainty, to sit in the mystery and believe something beautiful will sprout. Dr. Cole's teachings are a call to patience. Change unfolds gradually, but each mindful moment, each sincere query, sows seeds for tomorrow. As you tune in instead of tuning out, a fresh voice emerges within. A calm, knowing one that doesn't bellow or bully. It murmurs, "I see your pain. I know it hurts, but you can face it here without escape." This is the root of self-trust, what Dr. Cole termed individuation, the path to wholeness, not by severing disliked parts, but by inviting them back with open arms. So many miss this profound peace. They chase quick fixes and overlook the wisdom. But you, by staying glued to this story, are treading the road less worn. You might not taste freedom yet. That's all right. Freedom isn't a sudden burst. It's a tapestry woven from countless brave choices, from turning toward your hurts instead of away. Our adventure presses on. Up next, you'll uncover how to harness your cravings' fire for growth, not ruin. And the profound insight Dr. Cole shared only with his most daring learners, one that recasts addiction as a mentor, not a foe. Don't wander off. This final piece could reshape it all. The alchemy of desire. You've braved the tough inquiries and wandered the secret chambers of your spirit. Most would have bailed by now, spooked by the rawness or the dread of stagnation. But you've lingered, and that speaks volumes. It means you're not hunting mere solace. You're after metamorphosis. Dr. Benjamin Cole shunned quick fixes. He championed alchemy, viewing life as refining base metal into gleaming treasure, not by discarding the dim or burdensome, but by heating it in awareness's forge, comprehending it, letting it evolve. Consider that craving, that insistent draw to old comforts. It's a burst of raw energy, brimming with possibility. Too often, people squander it, battling, evading, dulling, or self-flogging. But imagine redirecting that spark. The ancient alchemists held that any toxin could heal if you unlocked its code. Dr. Cole saw your addictions as the raw ore for forging a renewed you, converting venom to vitality. It kicks off with a mindset pivot. Swap, how do I banish this? For what wisdom does it offer? How can I wield its force? Craving is pure momentum. It's your psyche signaling a gap, a need for motion. When it flares, don't squelch it, guide it. Craving a late-night snack to ease nerves? Let it prompt a deep inhale, a stroll around the block, or jotting a raw emotion in a notebook, turning turmoil into art. This flips unconscious loops into deliberate evolution. You can't always halt the urge's arrival, but you command its direction. With practice, it reshapes your self-bond. Dr. Cole observed that those who transcended addiction didn't merely halt. They swapped rituals, trading hollow for heartfelt. Craft fresh ceremonies to channel that energy. If stress once drove you to vices, try grounding your feet on the earth, feeling its steady pulse. If bedtime numbness was your escape, pen the fear you've hidden deepest. If discomfort sends you running, challenge yourself to meet it for a minute. Name it, breathe into it, let it wash over you like a wave, emerging stronger. These tiny, mindful acts are your alchemical tools, transmuting shadow to essence. Dr. Cole taught life's essence is individuation, uniting all your scattered, shunned fragments into a cohesive whole. Addiction illuminates your wounds, but also your untapped vigor. The shadow isn't a foe. It's a compass to your latent gifts. Each pause to confront a craving reclaims your might, knitting you tighter more authentic. Gradually, your self-view shifts. No longer the perpetual struggler, you emerge as the watchful guardian, the decider, the transformer, one who cradles pain, desire, and terror, yet strides onward with intent. You might ponder, am I truly evolving? It's not in grand fanfares, but subtle whispers. Shame's roar dims to a murmur. Hiding from yourself, lessons. You find yourself halting, pondering, selecting. Once, then repeatedly. Trust blossoms from these modest deeds. Many gauge progress in sweeping wins or flawless runs, but Dr. Cole insisted true shift lies in daily honesty, showing up for yourself regardless. And the unexpected bounty? This odyssey through addiction fosters a profound self-kinship. You realize your resilience, your insight, your capacity to bear unease far exceeds imagination. You shed the broken label, donning courageous instead. Dr. Cole affirmed, I am not defined by my past. I am shaped by my choices. That's your reality too. One final nudge. Having reached this tale's close, you've shown you're exceptional. You're poised to greet cravings with wonder, shadows with kindness, wounds with healing intent. So, the ultimate stride. Let each returning urge ring like a chime, summoning you to commune with your core. Ask, what do I genuinely crave? What feeds my spirit? Bonds, authenticity, purpose, serenity. Offer it in a small, true way. Each time, you erode the ancient rut and fortify the fresh trail. Addiction peddles the myth of eternal entrapment, but truth whispers you're transforming daily. Every aware breath is a conquest. Perfection's not required, just persistence. By finishing this, you're not merely observing, you're embracing the labor others evade eternally. Cling to that, for as Dr. Cole understood, the liberty you chase has always lurked nearby, just under the shadow, within the craving, beyond the fear. You'll never surrender to addiction's grasp again. Not after this. Now, let me expand on that a bit more, because I want you to feel the weight of this transformation in your bones. Think back to a time when you were a kid. Maybe you were that wide-eyed child in a small American town, like the ones in stories from places like Springfield or Austin, where the summers are long and the nights full of fireflies. You had dreams then, didn't you? Big, bold ones that made your heart race. But life has a way of piling on layers. Disappointments, heartbreaks, the daily grind that bury those dreams under a mountain of shoulds and can'ts. Addiction sneaks in as a false friend, offering to bury them deeper so you don't have to face the pain of what was lost. But Dr. Cole's teachings remind us that those buried dreams are part of your shadow, and ignoring them only makes the cravings louder. Imagine a character like young Emily, a girl from the bustling streets of Chicago, who grew up feeling invisible in a big family. As an adult, she turned to endless online shopping to fill the void, each purchase a temporary high that masked her loneliness. But one day, inspired by ideas like these, she paused mid-click and asked, "What am I really shopping for? Is it things, or is it the feeling of being seen?" That simple question cracked open a door. She started journaling her feelings, reaching out to old friends, and slowly the compulsion faded as she rebuilt connections that truly nourished her soul. Stories like Emily's aren't rare. They're echoes of what could be for you. Or take Jack, a hard-working mechanic from Detroit who battled alcohol after losing his job in a factory shutdown. The bottle promised forgetfulness, but it only amplified his rage at the world. Following Dr. Cole's path, he began naming his anger during those vulnerable evenings. This is grief for what I lost. This is fear of starting over. Instead of drinking, he channeled that energy into fixing up an old car in his garage, a ritual of creation that turned his pain into purpose. Over months, he not only sobered up, but built a small business, restoring classics, finding pride in skills he'd nearly forgotten. These side tales aren't just fluff. They're mirrors for your own life, showing how the principles work in the real world. They evoke that emotional pull, don't they? The hope mixed with the ache of recognition. And it's not just about individuals. Think of communities, like a support group in a cozy New York community center, where people share their shadows without judgment. One member, Sarah from Brooklyn, confessed her phone addiction stemmed from avoiding the grief of a lost parent. By facing it collectively, they all grew, turning personal battles into shared victories. Dr. Cole's alchemy isn't abstract. It's practical, emotional, life-altering. Remember Theodore Vance's words? They're like a beacon. Freedom comes from mastery, but mastery from understanding. So, as we weave through this, let's add another layer. Consider the sensory details that make cravings so vivid. The smell of fresh rain on pavement reminding you of carefree days, triggering a desire to escape into old habits. Or the warmth of a morning coffee that once paired with a cigarette, now a cue to breathe deeply and reflect. Expanding further, Let's delve into the emotional spectrum. Fear isn't just a word. It's that knot in your stomach, the racing heart when vulnerability looms. Loneliness? It's the echo in an empty room, the silence that screams for company. By naming them, you humanize them, making them less monstrous. Dr. Cole encouraged rituals like walking barefoot on grass to ground yourself, feeling the earth's support, as a reminder you're not alone. Or lighting a candle each evening, not for romance, but to symbolize illuminating your inner world. And oh, the joy of integration. When you welcome back those rejected parts, it's like reuniting with a long-lost friend. Tears might flow, tears of release, of forgiveness. I've seen it in stories of people like Mike from Los Angeles, who overcame gambling by channeling his thrill-seeking into adventure sports, turning destructive energy into exhilarating growth. His journey evokes pride, doesn't it? That sense of, I can do this too. To ensure this resonates deeply, let's explore the patience required. Change is like watching a garden grow. You plant seeds of awareness, water them with curiosity, and wait. Some days, weeds of doubt sprout, but you pull them gently, knowing the harvest comes in time. Dr. Cole's students often shared how, after weeks of practice, they felt a quiet strength emerging, a resilience that withstood life's storms. Finally, as we near the end of this expanded tale, remember, you're the hero here. Every small act, pausing before a craving, journaling a truth, seeking connection, is a step toward wholeness. The emotions stirred, hope, sorrow, determination, are your guides. You've got this, friend. The shadow that once loomed now becomes a teacher, leading you to a life richer, fuller, freer than before.